After our recent video valuing the Nvidia stock, we will do some Tesla napkin math, Tesla valuation in today's video. I will do a sum of the parts valuation, and yeah, this is not investment advice, just education. I share my own positions, like Tesla and Nvidia are both my positions in my own portfolio. My portfolio in the last 10 years or so has averaged compound annual growth rate of north than 40%. But I don't seek these high compound annual growth rates. I think a 20% compound annual growth rate is more than satisfying. So interestingly, for Nvidia, my pessimistic case was 10% compound annual growth rate. As well, right? And my optimistic case for Nvidia was 30%, and here my pessimistic compound annual growth rate for until 2030 is 10% for Tesla. In the pessimistic scenario, in the more optimistic but still sandbagged scenario, it is 36%. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Yeah, please be careful. Do your own research. I just share my own valuations. And yeah, also. Let's have a quick overview of the businesses I will analyze. As I said, it's a sum of the parts analysis, so I will separately value the 5 big businesses of Tesla, which is just car sales. Here we have the car sales business. They sell electronic vehicles. Then we have the energy business in the mid, so they sell both solar cells, which is a tiny business segment, and rapidly growing business segment like batteries in all shapes and forms, right? For energy storage. So they focus on energy storage, and it's an attractive high growth business segment of Tesla. Then the next one would be the Robotaxi network. Here they have already presented in the most recent earnings call how the app will look like. It will be a car sharing or ride sharing application like Uber with a sleek design and stuff, so you can order robotaxis. And yeah, and then another segment they are already actively working on is the humanoid robot segment, and then we have the full self-driving business, which is a subscription model. They recently reduced the subscription price from $199 per month to $99 per month for FSD, and also have a certain take rate. And I will quickly give napkin math, so high level perspective of these different business segments, and then we will come to an ultimate valuation. Okay, so first let's look into the profits from car sales in the year 2030. And all numbers in this call, actually, I believe the numbers are more bullish than all numbers I mentioned. I sandbagged all of my numbers. I took the more conservative approach. I mean, I don't say they are correct. These numbers will be wrong for sure. But I think reality will be more bullish. I think the disruption will happen faster than I assumed in these numbers. Okay, this is just to tell you. Okay, so how many units will be sold in the year 2030? Here we see the historic growth rates between the years 2013 and 2023, and we see the growth. The unit growth was like 41%, 60%, 138% on smaller numbers, obviously. But even in recent years, we have seen growth rates of 87%, 40%, and 38%. So we have seen significant growth in units. Many expect like a 50% average growth rate or so. Elon Musk, for example, announced that they want to produce 20 million electric vehicles in 2030. Yeah, but he also made clear that this is more aspirational goal than a hard and fast hard number. Okay, but still, I don't assume 50% growth rate. In fact, in the recent years, due to recession and high interest rates, the car sales growth has slowed down. I think it will pick up as interest rate fall again and the new cars come out and stuff. And I think most of the cars will be electric in the year 2030. Okay, but so if we assumed like a 20 million cars, which is the aspirational goal of Elon Musk, this would mean a 41% compound annual growth rate of the units from now 2024 to 2030. I don't think this is necessarily realistic. I don't assume it for sure for my own valuation. I always want to be a bit more conservative. So I cut it in half. I cut this growth rate in half, just assume 20% compound annual growth rate for the models. And this number, we will see this number in different places in this valuation framework. Okay, so we have 6.5 million units sold in 2030. As for a comparison, Toyota today in 2024 or last year sold 11 million cars. So in this whole spreadsheet, I don't even assume that Tesla reaches the numbers of Toyota in car sales. What I actually believe is Tesla will surpass Toyota sales. Toyota's today the largest automotive player in terms of unit sales, and also I think absolute revenue. But I think Tesla will surpass Toyota. This is my personal opinion, but I don't use the personal opinion in the spreadsheet. I just cut in half for margin of safety. I cut in half the compound annual growth rate that is expected by internal people like Elon Musk and other Tesla investors. Okay, as profit per unit, the current profit per unit in 2023. So last year's profit per unit was $8,000. I assume that with the growth, the car unit prices go down a bit. The profit margin might go down a bit as well. So I just cut it in half as well. So you see, like cutting in half two numbers means like the final number could be much more bullish than in my spreadsheet. But I always like to use like conservative cases, so I can invest in these conservative cases if they are still investable. Then I get surprised on the upside. I'm really happy, right? So I cut it in half. I assume 4K profit per unit sold in 2030, which means the unit price comes down. It's more attractive for customers to buy the Tesla, and they still in 2030 they still have a bright future ahead. Okay, if I just do the math, 6.5 million times $4,000 profit, 26 billion profit from raw car sales. Okay, so this is one number, 26 billion profit, and I will use it later in our like putting it all together. I will use this profit number, plug it into to get an ultimate profit number, and I will show you like at the end of the presentation what this means for the stock price. Let's go to the next segment. This will be faster. Profit from full self-driving. So I own a Tesla. Full self-driving already works beautifully in many cases. It works much better in the US than in Germany, where I'm from. But the updates, they're currently rolling out the FSD version 12.4, I think, which is pretty good. It can like drive an hour or so without intervention. It works really beautifully, and it just drives people more safely and autonomously from one place to the other. And of course, it is the dumbest it will ever be, right? It will be much more intelligent in 6 years, in 2030. I mean, it's already, probably this year, it can already reach human level performance, or maybe it has already surpassed. This is like, there are no statistics out there showing this. Like the full self-driving alone without human driver. Definitely, we see exponential improvement. We see the march of nines, so the accuracy going from 99.9 to 99.99 to 99.999%, and so on. So we will see this. We will see these improvements. They will keep going on, and yeah, assuming with our 20% growth rate, we have like 24.6 million cars on the road, assuming that the lifetime of each car is like 10 years. I think this is very realistic. Probably we will have a much higher lifetime. So with this assumption and selling 6.5 million units approximately in 2030, we will have 24.6 million cars on the road. So now we need to ask ourselves, what is the take rate? The take rate for FSD, so the percentage of people actually purchasing the FSD or subscribing to the FSD service, is between 10 and 20%. This is how it is today, right? We assume Today, the take rate is between 10 to 20%, and there's some data. You can Google it online. There are some public estimations of how many people currently subscribe to FSD. I have FSD, and I would do it. I would definitely do it. Subscribe to FSD. And the recent price from FSD was reduced from 199 per month to 99 per month. We assume in 2030 it is still at 99 per month, even though it is much better. It can probably drive your car completely autonomously through all scenarios, safer than a human being. So probably the take rate will go like to 100%. I don't see why it wouldn't approach like 80% at least. But here I sandbagged all the numbers. As I said, we assume the take rate is 20% in 2030 still. And with 24.6 million cars on the road, Teslas on the road, we get a 5.8 billion profit in 2030. So I've sandbagged so much that I wouldn't be surprised if the numbers are 10x of that or even 20x of that. But I just use this number. Okay, so next we look at the profits from the Robotaxi network. So here we assume the car has full self-driving, right? We can already see it in 2024. In 2030, it will be able to drive completely autonomously for sure. So the next step is to implement the Robotaxi network. And Tesla, in fact, in the most recent earning call, maybe two weeks ago or so, they showed how the app will look like, the Robotaxi network app. They call it like a ride-hailing or ride-sharing app. It is like Uber. Most US people know Uber. You can just order your car. You can see the prices there. You can see how long it will take until it gets you, and it will autonomously drive you to your destination. And the Robotaxi network already exists in areas like Shanghai, right? And I think in San Francisco. So there are already many areas in the world where robotaxis are already driving. It's like the future is already here. It's just unevenly distributed. So many people argue against the Robotaxi network. They argue that it is not possible, that, I don't know, it's like technically not possible, that the infrastructure couldn't exist, that there's regulatory challenges and stuff. I mean, they are already driving, and if it is safer than a human being, there won't be a lot of regulatory hurdles. And now we assume profits from Robotaxi network. Our numbers show that we have at least 24.6 million Tesla cars on the road in 2030, and at a 20% take rate for full self-driving, we have 6 million robotaxis that have the technical potential to be activated as robotaxis. So this is how many robotaxis we have. How much income will we have for a robotaxi? Now let's compare this to just to have some comparison. An average hourly profit of a Uber driver is like $20 per hour. Of course, the robotaxi would be cheaper, so it is competitive. So people will choose a robotaxi over Uber drivers. And we already see the potential here. Cars are parked 96.5% of the time. So if you assume that the remainder of the time a car, like this is just having, so to say, the total addressable market, kind of like the potential, the revenue potential, the daily revenue potential of a robotaxi. So if you have the FSD subscription, if you have a Tesla car and you pay for the FSD subscription like $99 per month, then your car could earn $390 in revenue per day if you assume 4 hours of charging in a given day and assume like that 3.5% of the time you need the car yourself. So this is what you could do. I don't say all of them are doing it. I just say this, you could unlock this revenue potential and maybe cut this in half because you won't get the same rate as a Uber driver maybe. So maybe probably in the beginning people would pay more even for a robotaxi than for a Uber driver, but I just assume like having this scaled out. So what are our assumptions now? Our assumptions are now we have, so if you had something that could generate like hundreds of dollars of revenue per day, how often would you turn it on? You already have the asset, you have the car, and you have the FSD subscription. So you could just turn it on to make you money while you work. It could make you more income as you earn in your current job, assuming that Tesla takes only 30% of your gross profit. So for example, if you activate the Robotaxi twice per week, and this is what I'm assuming now, that maybe you activate it on the weekends or so, or like on average, a Robotaxi out of 7 days will get activated for 2 days in a given week. And only those Robotaxis of the 20% owners that actually pay for FSD. And this is so much, this is so sandbagged, this is so conservative, because if you have such a revenue, such a car with such a revenue potential, many more people will buy the car just because of this. So we will have more unit sales, we will have higher take rate, because it's just an asset. I mean, just having the FSD will increase your asset value, as your car value, by such a big margin, because it can really generate passive income for you. Almost passive. You still need to do the maintenance for the car and stuff, right? But assuming only twice per week, and we don't assume the numbers grow, the number of sold units grow due to FSD, then we will generate an additional 4 billion profit in a given year. And as I said, this likely is much higher if we have reached it. And the only assumption here we have, like the main assumption is we have Tesla will solve FSD in 2030. And I can tell you, like having a Tesla car and paying for FSD, or actually having bought the whole FSD package forever, I can tell you they will do it. I mean, I'm super confident they will solve FSD. And if they solve FSD, then this is the potential revenue unlock here you have. Okay, let's quickly go over the energy business. I don't have any unique insights in the energy business. Elon has said it will be larger than the car business. I don't assume this here. I just assume. I mean, if you look at the revenue growth rates, they are impressive. It already generates like 2 billion or so. No, 500 million in net profit currently. I just assume like a 20% revenue growth. No, actually, I assume a 20% revenue growth rate, which is like in reality it is much higher. You can see here the revenue growth rate, like it has tripled in only 4 years, and 1, 2, 3 in 3 years. It has tripled in 3 years, right? 3x in 3 years. This is much higher than 20%. But I assume 20% revenue growth rate until for 6 years or so, until we reach the year 2030, and we assume only a net margin of 10%. Probably it'll be higher. It'll be more like 15 to 20%, maybe more. But we assume net margin of 10%. So we add 2.1 billion in net income, again sandbagged. Now let's look at the humanoid robot. And some people assume this is just this won't be a big business opportunity for Tesla. But in fact, the humanoid bots are already out there. They already exist. They are already capable of doing useful work. You could already pay a Tesla bot for security, say, right? You can already like install a camera in its head. It already has one, and it can wander through your factory if you're a factory owner, and record everything, right, in the night, maybe if the factory is still or something. So the Tesla bot is already useful now. It can already do useful work now. Granted, it's still like a prototype. They don't have a production facility to produce like to print out millions of those bots. They are still improving it, polishing it and stuff. But it is already working. It is already wandering around. It is already taking it is in the most recent videos they have shown that in the factories they can already fill in battery packs, for example, with the smaller batteries, and so they can already do the kind of work that they would have to do in a factory setting. And in 2030, for sure, they will be hugely valuable. Like having such a bot could replace a human worker, basically. And why is that? So a human worker, a factory worker, makes probably north of 60K or so, maybe 50K. But then you also have to pay for taxes, you have to pay for vacation, you have to pay all these like additional spendings. You have to pay for human resources and stuff. So here actually I have the comparison. So if you pay a worker like 60K per year, the worker is still sick, unmotivated, needs vacations, weekends, sleep. The worker is still less skilled in specific tasks, right? It probably does a lot of breaks during work time. And you need to pay for HR department that is like proportional to the number of people you have in your factory. And you have a lot of overhead. You have complexity. And you pay 60K per year. This is like the average or median loan in the US. So as a customer of the bot, as a bot buyer, right? Probably initially we will have many like factory owners or factory managers asking for the bot, because now we actually solve the problem of labor in our factories. We just pay 20K, say, I assume 20K sales price for a bot once, and we replace 2 workers in a year, because the bot now doesn't work 8 hours per day, only 5 days per week. It may work 16 hours per day, the rest for charging and maintenance, and for 7 days, right? It replaces 2 workers, maybe more. And both workers cost 60K per year, right? So you may save 120K per year. And you have all these like soft disadvantages of human labor. So as a factory owner, paying 20K once would be a huge profit. As a shareholder of a company, I would insist that these bots would get hired, right? Or would get ordered, instead of paying expensive human labor. And often the human labor is not even available. There's a shortage of human talent. So and many factory owners actually don't find the talent they seek. And in this case, the bot would be a solution as well. And here I sandbag all my numbers, because I assume only a 20K profit, 20K unit sales price at scale for the Tesla bot. And in reality, it could be much higher, right? I mean, if you are a capital allocator, like saving 120K per year, you could easily pay or justify 100K sales price. But I assume, again, 20K, what Elon says, that a bot might be purchasable for 20K at scale. And and now in 2030, we have already established that Tesla will sell at least 6.5 million cars. This again was a sandbag number, but we assume this. A bot is easier to produce, cheaper to produce, and has a higher utility than a car. For factories, you can see the utility here, and so we assume like the same number of bots sold in 2030. In this case, we have 6.5 million times 15K profit per unit sold. It's like 97 billion profit per year. And again, this is my like sandbag number even. I didn't actually. I just added this slide because I think in reality it would be much higher. And I have created 2 blog posts, blog valuations on the Finster blog, and I will add the link in the description below. Or you can just Google Finster Tesla bot valuation, and you will find these other valuations where I give you like the more realistic assumptions. For example, here you see on Amazon the number of robots in Amazon in red has actually surpassed the number of human employees, and I think this will happen everywhere in every factory. And I think we will see billions of bots, and at a PE ratio of say 33 realistically, and Tesla having a market share of 25%, the valuation could be something crazy like 80 trillion or something. Yeah, so some crazy huge numbers. So I think I think our scenario with only 6.5 million bots sold in 2030 at this low sales price, I mean, this could be easily accomplished, right? And the bot is not like, again, the future is already here. It is just unevenly distributed. These bots already exist. They are already wandering through Tesla factories. They are already doing useful work. They are getting already trained. We still see a 70% per year reduction of AI training costs. So in 3-4 years, we might see a 1000x improvement in model size, for example, and the performance of those will just improve, and they will eventually get sold probably much higher sales price than 20K, probably much higher units. So we have more profit per unit and more units sold. But yeah, these numbers are sandbagged. Okay, so let's put it all together. Here we see the net profits in billions that we have just established over the 5 big business units. Car sales will yield a profit, an expected annual net profit of 26 billion per year in 2030. FSD 5.8 billion, Robotaxi 4.2 billion, Energy 2.1 billion, and the Humanoid bot 97.5 billion. So this will be the biggest unit, as Elon mentioned, as many people expect. And so I have like created these 2 scenarios. Like one is say optimistic, where this whole bot scenario actually plays out in the small numbers we have used here, 6.5 million. And one scenario just ignoring this whole humanoid bot business. So in order for people, if they argue, okay, bot is very unrealistic and people are against using the humanoid bot for evaluation models like this, they could use the model on the right? And we assume a 30x multiple on the net profits in 2030, which would give us a 4 trillion market cap for Tesla in the year 2030, and with 3.5 billion outstanding shares, a share price of $1,169. This is what I told you initially. And today, at a point in time of recording, the share price is $184.7, which I think is to steal. If you would pay this share price and the scenario turned out like I told you here with the sandbag numbers, we would get a 36% compound annual growth rate. If we ignore the humanoid bot and we just assume the other business units play out like this, we assign a value of 0 to the humanoid bot business, we would still get a 10% compound annual growth rate. So that our share price would go from 184 to 328. And all of these numbers are obviously very volatile, right? I mean, you could have, for example, as a PE, 30x multiple on profit, this price earning multiple, could be 30x, could be 50x, could be 100x, could be 10x. I mean, 10x is probably I don't see how this would happen, right? But it could be. The market is very unpredictable in that way. What price earnings multiple it assigns, what future it sees for a certain stock price. In my opinion, it will be higher than 30x. In my opinion, like in the year 2030, with the bot business and all these growing business units and all the potential, the multiple will probably more like 50x or so. Because the market now clearly sees the growth potential, and we are still only at 6.5 million units sold of the humanoid bot, and the market will at that point know that eventually we will see billions of bots. There will be billions of bots out there. Okay, but even if you just ignore this whole bot business, you still get a 10% compound annual growth rate on the remaining business units, which I think is it's like quite an interesting investment opportunity. And now, like, what I have not done on the spreadsheet here is like my own view. If we really have 1 billion Tesla bots out there, so I think eventually we will even see like in the Amazon example here, we will see more bots than human beings, which means that we will see 10 billion humanoid bots, and there will be all kinds of bots, not only humanoid bots but other bots produced by Tesla. The humanoid robot will not be the last product launched by Tesla. They will launch more and more products, maybe variations of the humanoid bot. But first they focus on the humanoid bot. And I think we might see 10 billion bots, not in 2030, but like at a later point in time. But let's assume we only see 1 billion bots, and let's assume we only see $1,000 profit per bot, per Tesla bot, per year. So we have 1 billion bots out there and $1,000 profit, which means $1 trillion profit. This is just some napkin math. So $1 trillion profit with a multiple of 30x is a $30 trillion company. So the potential of the Tesla stock currently at a 600 billion market cap compared to 30 trillion market cap, it could be like an easy 30x in this scenario over, say, the next 2 decades or so. So I think it's a significant opportunity. No investment advice. It's just my own opinions here. I share my own investment analysis. And yeah, if you like this stuff, if you like technology, if you like being on the right side of change, then join my free email newsletter. Just go to thinkster.com and subscribe. And share regular information. My goal with this is to help you be on the right side of change. We already have 160k people on our email list. Also check out our beginner-friendly AI courses for practitioners. Just type in academy.thinkster.com. You can also search for Thinkster Academy. You can also search Thinkster Academy reviews if you want to know more about the courses. And we have courses on LangChain, on developing multi-agent teams and multi-agent systems. We have courses on prompt engineering, and all these courses are actually, you can subscribe once and you get access to all of our AI courses. And our main goal is to help you be on the right side of change. Thanks for listening. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. You can also subscribe, like become a channel member, and also get access to the academy by being Katana or Saitsa member. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your attention. I'm grateful to have you, and see you in the next video. Bye.